Good morning. This is Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Bregman of the Jewish Executive Learning Network and BregmanSuccess.com. Thursday morning, let's learn some insights into this week's Torah portion. How about it? This week's Torah portion, it's called Beshalach. We're in the book of Exodus. Let's do it. Let's learn. We're in chapter 13 of the book of Exodus. Let me present to you the verse. We'll learn at the lesson, and we'll be on our way, okay? The verse says, Vayikach Moshe es atzmus Yosef imoi, that Moses, took the remains of Yosef with him. Joseph, he died in the land of Egypt, long time before the Jewish people were enslaved, and a long time before the slavery ended. He made the Jewish people take an oath that when Hashem, God, would cause the slavery to come to an end, the Jewish people would be redeemed, that he made the Jewish people swear that he would be, his bones would be removed from the ground and carried to the land of Israel where he would be reinterred. And that's what happened. So in our verse, in this week's Torah portion, it says, Moshe took the remains of Yosef with him in fulfillment of the promise. Moses personally attended to this, okay? I speak about this in short and sweet on the Parsha, my commentary on the weekly Torah portion, but I'm not going to hold this for too long. I want to make the video happen because it's a busy morning in the Bregman house, A, and B, I want to finish the video so I can get to what's left in this, okay? So, in short, what do we learn from here? So there's a rule in Torah study that it's axiomatic. There's a rule that there's no such thing as a word, a phrase, anything in there in the Torah that is extraneous or irrelevant. Now, if I speak or I write, there's stuff in there that I could have said this way, that way. I could have reworded it, this word, my diction could be different. But not when the creator of the universe, when God writes something like the Bible, what he put in there, it's for a reason, okay? What's in there is for a reason. So there seems to be something, the commentaries say, that's a little extra in this verse. Moshe took the remains of Yosef with him. The phrase with him, in Hebrew it's a word imoi. In English, in Hebrew it's one word, imoi. In English it's two. With him seems extra. Why? Because if I say that Shlomo, me, took the coffee cup with him, it's obvious. Shlomo, that's me, took, we need the verb. The coffee cup, we have to have the subject, though it's kind of getting cold because I make these videos too long. Imoi, with him. With him is obvious. If Shlomo took the cup and I left the screen, well, it's obvious I took it with me. It wasn't with Sarah or with Jesse or with Brian, or it's with me. If I took the cup, right? So when the verse says that Moshe took the remains of Yosef, it should be obvious. It was with him. What does it mean? Imoi, with him. It's obvious it was with him. So what does that come to include? So there's a commentary called the Kli Yakar from several hundred years ago that says like this. If the verse had just said Moshe took the remains of Yosef, that would just mean what we think. He physically dragged it, moved it along, product placement, right? He moved it. So that would have been a Moshe took the remains of Yosef. That means he just moved it. What does imoi, with him, come to include? So it's lerabais, which means in Hebrew it comes to include not just down here he took it, but he took it to Olam Haba, the world to come, to the afterlife. Okay, what does that mean? There's a rule in Judaism. We believe that there's this world, but there's a spiritual world, the soul world, where our souls go. First of all, that's where we reside and exist before we come down to this world. And that's where our neshama, our souls, go after we pass away. And that's where a person is rewarded for what they did in this world. And hopefully not punished too badly for the things that we failed to do or that we shouldn't have done. Okay, that's the concept. So when it says, Vayikach Moshe tatzmi Yosef imoi, Moshe took the remains of Yosef with him, it means like this, that not only he was involved in the physical action down here and doing a mitzvah, doing a commandment, doing a proper deed down here, but he took it imoi with him to the world to come, to the next world also. In other words, it wasn't just involved in a temporal finite act, but he took the reward for that mitzvah with him to the next world. That's especially important because if you look in the Torah, it's clear that the rest of the Jewish people were running around only worried about collecting gold and silver from the Egyptians as they were getting out of town. That's what they were doing, but Moshe was involved in a mitzvah. A lot of that gold and silver ended up just being used in the creation of the golden calf, which was quasi-idolatrous and not a good outcome. But Moses was involved in a mitzvah, a good deed, a spiritual positive act, and he not only spared himself from being involved in the wrong thing down here, but he took it up there. So more than 3,300 years later, Moses is still reaping the reward from God for doing that action. So that's what it means, says the Kli Yakar. Moses took the remains of Yosef with him. He understood that it wasn't just he was doing it here, but he was doing something that he took with him. What do I want you to take from this video? I just want to encourage you very much to take inventory and stock of how you live on a daily basis and ask yourself, maybe at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day, it might even be a better time, what am I involved with that is eternal? What do I get to, did I do today or am I going to do today that I get to keep, that I'm going to take with me? Maybe your name is David and you're watching the video. Maybe your name is Gladys and you're watching the video. I don't know. I know people by all kinds of names. What are you doing that you're going to take with you? What is the legacy you're going to leave behind? What involvement did you have today that could be spiritually elevating? What did you fulfill in the Torah today that therefore God can reward you one day for it? Think about it. Think about it. And I'll tell you one other quick thing before we wrap up this clip and I press the red button and we call it a video. But I'll tell you like this. It's not just actually like doing spiritual acts and the spiritual commandments that count as elevating and you take things with you. Torah perspective is that when you do even physical things, if you use them the way God instructed you to do so, you elevate them and they become spiritual accomplishments as well. So I have this mostly consumed bottle of Poland spring water here. I should get maybe a promo piece for it, but the deal. But so, if a person from the Jewish perspective will make a blessing on it, as I did before, you make a blessing, you drink, you take something physical, that's water, and you elevate it, you say it came from God, I'm going to use the energy I get from it to do something spiritual, and you use it to fuel you to do good, worthwhile things for yourself, the world, and the family. And you're able to convert in Judaism physical things into spiritual accomplishments. Much more to say on it, but this is part of the Jewish idea on charity, gift giving, marital relations, and a lot of things as well. That we can take even physical things and they can become spiritual things that we take imoy. So anyway, that's this week's Torah portion, Beshalach. One little insight into one word. It's already an almost 8-minute clip, but that's that. This is Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Bregman of the Jewish Executive Learning Network and BregmanSuccess.com. There is no steam coming out of this anymore, so I'm going to have to go upstairs and get another one. Have a great Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom. Please, if you haven't yet, subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking on this page or the page before on the little red button so we can stay in great contact, and we will see you the next time. Bye.